Welcome back to another episode of Code Sesh studying in leak codes or whatever the fuck. Code study sesh and not leak code, code study sesh and OSRS AFK training. So currently, I'm just fishing right now. I'm trying to hit 62 fishing so I can do the quest. What's it called? So I can do the quest Swan Song or something. Okay, so currently let's look at buffers. Buffered channels. And I'm using my tablet to take notes, so that way I don't have to struggle with how I'm capturing information. Channels can optionally be buffered. Maybe we'll go through some concepts later, but what does this mean? Creating a channel with a buffer. Okay, so make chant int. It's like I gotta redo. Like my character's fishing really fast now. It's like kind of annoying. But at the same time, it's good for EXP rates. So right now the CH and then I'm going to use highlights to kind of do this. You have to use make to create a channel here. And then buffer allows for an initial, for the channel to hold a fixed number of values before sending blocks. This means that sending on a buffered channel only blocks when the buffer is full. So I don't know if you guys saw the previous video, but here, let's go to my notes actually. Okay, so basically, right now this is how you would send values to a channel. This is how you receive values from a channel. And this is the channel operator. Data moves in the direction of the operator. So currently, this A to B drawing is how a channel works. The sender and receiver basically exchange data. The sender sends a message to the receiver, but the receiver has to be ready simultaneously. So whenever one message is sent, one message has to be ready to be received simultaneously, right? So Go routines aren't explicitly just for Go. Main function already runs new Go routine. So let's go to this portion, blocking a channel. So while this channel is waiting to, while it's waiting to be received, a value is waiting to be received from the channel, it blocks, right? But if you have a buffer, you don't have to do one message at a time. You could stack messages. So technically, instead of, let's say this is the receiver, this is the sender, this is the data, this is the buffer. Now you can get all these messages that will then go here, then go here, then go here. Right now you can stack this kind of thing instead of just having a one-to-one. Right? Instead of having a one-to-one, now you can stack a bunch of messages to be sent to this receiver in this buffer. And that's pretty much what it is. So let's go back to my main screen. So now that we're back at the main screen, we can now see that we understand how the buffer works. So basically a channel is just one-to-one, data is being sent and it has to be received at the same time. Right, with this buffer now I have room to stack this sent, these sent messages to be sent basically. So I'm basically creating a buffer room. That's what it means. You're creating a buffer. So I'm gonna actually draw that on my notes. I envision a channel receiver sender, and then I'm going to create a buffer. Okay, I'm creating these color-coded notes so I come back later in time and then just skim through it if I have to relearn concepts. So I'm basically creating a mind map of all the concepts I learned and then come back to it later. I'm in no rush to finish any lesson fast. This isn't by speed. This is a study sesh. So if you guys are wondering how do I do things, so the way I can explain it is like this. I could go slow, but I only have to do it once, right? Whereas some people do it fast, and I have a feeling like that's also a cope, honestly. Some people feign lack of ability for we need to get things done quickly, and it's like, no, you just don't know how to do something, and you're trying to use AI because you're trying to cover up the fact that you're inadequate, right? So the first step is admitting that you have a weakness and then taking the time to get better at it, rather than just saying, oh, we need to do things quickly and then just shove a bunch of AI generated code. Because if you don't know how a buffer works, if you don't know how channels work, a package, if you don't understand the mechanics of the tool you're using, what the fuck is the point? Like, at that point, we don't even need, like, the only reason we write code is so that humans can read it. The computer doesn't give a fuck what language you write. It just knows zeros and ones down at the hardware level, right? So, like, if you actually writing code, then you should aim to understand what code is on the screen. So that's just my take on it, and that's why I'll take as long as I fucking need to let a concept marinate. On the flip side, it's like, yo, my character is fishing extremely fast, so I have to like drop. Oh, nice, 59 fishing. This is perfect. Now it's fixed number of values before sending, which is perfect. So now we have the concept of the buffer assignment. We want to be able to send emails in batches. Writing a go routine will write an entire batch of email messages to a queue, to a buffered channel. Later, once the channel is full, a read and go routine will read all the messages from the channel and send them to our client. So basically it's saying stuff a bunch of emails in this buffer like we did in the drawing, and then once this buffer is full, send everything. So there's a writing go routine that fills up the buffer, and a reading go routine that then pulls information from a buffer. So we'll most likely have to use a loop of some sort to keep pinging the channel for data. I don't know if pinging is the correct word. Let's look up the correct word. What is it called? Let's ChatGPT it. Let's try DeepSeek, honestly. When you study, you want to be meticulous about details and store them in a place that you can easily access and have them receiving from a channel. Receiving, okay. So it's just send, receive. I guess the channel is basically kind of like one of those cup strings where you talk on one side of the cup and someone else hears it. You can't buffer this. This is like a stateless kind of thing. And then I guess the concept of like voicemail or something would be where you have some sort of buffer where you could store different messages of voice data to be sent, right? So like that receiver can now go through each item in that box. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's like a close kind of explanation as to what you expect to see. Okay, so complete the add emails function. Our entire batch of messages. Okay, so first we have to kind of store up these messages. Adding emails to a queue. So technically the buffer would act as a queue because it's a first in, first out, basically. It would be a first in, first out. Because that's the way a channel works. In, out, in, out, in, out. It's a FIFO structure. Let me put that in my note as well. FIFO, first in, first out. And then what else do I need to know about this? I need to understand everything about it before I start writing code. That's my thing. And I know people are going to say it takes long. I don't give a fuck, honestly. Because like every lesson learned compounds into perpetuity. If I learn something in a day, it carries with me till the end of time. So it makes sense to learn things properly when I can. So FIFO, first in, first out. Technically a queue. I'm going to put technically a queue. Technically, the buffer acts as a queue. Of data to be passed into the channel. Create a buffer channel. It should create a buffer. So let's look at this. It tells us kind of the requirements in the actual challenge. Should then write emails to the channel folder and finally return the channel. Okay, so add emails to queue. So right now we're just focusing on the buffer. We're not trying to read from the buffer. So we need to go channel. Emails is an array of strings and it returns a channel string. So basically what we're saying is I want to make a channel. I want to make a channel. I'm literally saying I want to make something. That's how you make. Then I want to go chan string, channel of strings. I want to pass in one string at a time. And what's my buffer size? Is there a buffer size large enough to how much is a batch? Let's just copy the 100 then, in this case. I don't know how much a batch is. Write an email later. Let's just say 100. I'm just curious as well. Is that like a term I need to know? $32 or 64 samples. Okay. Let's just say 64, just for argument's sake. So now I've created my channel. The next thing is it should create a channel large enough to store all of the emails it's given. You know what? Let's go to 100. And then it should write the emails to the channel in order. Should write the emails to the channel in order. Okay, so basically write to the channel in order. So based on what we know about sending data to the channel, what I want to do is for this is how you do for loop in Go. You have to use these little semicolons for I is less than the length of the emails, and then I plus plus, because I want to go basically through every element of this string. Then I want to say channel, I want data to the channel, so the arrow going to the channel is data going to that channel. And then basically I want to go emails I. So at every email sent to the channel, sent to the channel, sent to the channel, sent to this buffer. So now this buffer is filling up. It's filling up till it hits the top, and then we can now read from the channel. It should return the channel as is. Okay, cool. So we're returning the buffered channel. That should be it. There we go. Pass, passed. Then solution. So the way he does it here is uses in range emails. This is like a shorthand syntax. Like basically, if you don't care about the index, you can get index value in the range of the size of this email. I just did the standard for loop just so everyone could follow along and not have to worry about syntax. And he's doing the same thing. Emails to send is the channel. Oh, and he just makes it length emails. Okay, so all the emails. So technically, I could make that improvement here. I didn't even know I didn't think of that, because this is an array technically. So if I want to send the emails, I only want to send the amount. I try not to look at the solutions, honestly. Like the way they set this site up is that you could go to boots first, which is the helper. But if I solve it, then I just look at the solution and compare what I could have changed. But my understanding of what is trying to be done. So basically, he's going email channel with no index, right? Because I have it indexed for loop, I'm going email with index, which is the same thing. And then I return the channel. We just called it different things, but our underlying principles were the same. So we understand the concept of what's going on. It's just the way we delivered it was different. Both are still valid solutions. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Closing channels and Go. So I'm pretty sure like C, we have to free memory because you're using a channel with a buffer or something like that. You have to make sure that whatever resource you're creating needs to also be freed back into the memory technically, because when you load operations at scale, you're gonna have all this fucking memory. Like let's say, like right now we're just doing a few bytes, right? But if you have like fucking like Meta or Netflix or something where there's like 10 million people doing like a bunch of bytes, that fucking adds up, right? So you got to make sure resources are freed up whenever you can, and you don't unnecessarily burn resources. So that's the other thing, right? So closing channels and Go. Okay, let's look at that. Let's understand what's going on. We're at 24 minutes right now, so I'm gonna probably do another episode. Actually, I could even do another episode. Let's just do closing channels in another one.